Before we start, I do want to give a disclaimer. There is slight mention of a toxic household and parents and a death of a sibling. So if any of that triggers you, please feel free to watch another video. But anyways, let's get into it. Comfort. You had enough living in a toxic household where all your so-called parents did was fight and drink. It was like an endless cycle, just repeating itself. The more time went on, the more you realized they were complete strangers to you. They promised to stop, but again, as you walked into the small apartment, it was filled with the smell of alcohol and yelling, which echoed from the kitchen. You guessed they lied. What happened to the happy family where it was filled with laughs and smiles? No worries at all. Where was this stable family? You took a deep breath and walked straight to your room. They didn't even notice you were home. Did they even care anymore? It went quiet for a while. That was until you heard a glass bottle being thrown to the old floor. You flinched a bit. You hated loud sounds. Again, slurred speech and shouts started to rise from the kitchen. As you clenched your fists that were stored away in the pockets of your hoodie, you realized you didn't want to be here anymore. You hated living like this. Slowly, you rose from your bed, making your way to the front door. You thought about running away multiple times, but always thought that maybe they'd change. Oh, you were so wrong. Carefully stepping over the broken pieces of glass, you left them half of your money. You still had a bit of sympathy for them after all. It was your sister's death that brought your entire family to misery, and that made them like this. You missed her deeply. She was like your best friend, but your parents took it worse than expected. The rain poured down heavily, soaking you completely. You didn't care at all. You were just glad you got away from there. As you sat yourself down onto the wet bench, it had a little bit of shelter, but barely enough to cover your head. Your head fell back behind the bench, letting out a heavy sigh. You didn't think it through. You had your phone, which wasn't even fully charged, and only a small amount of money. As you turned your head back, you noticed a small family that contained 4 people. It reminded you of the happy family you once were. "Oh, how I envy you," you said, plainly, a sad smile dancing on your face, while little droplets of tears fell down it. You looked at them from afar. The clouds started to turn darker, indicating the weather would start to turn even more horrid. Small claps of thunder were now heard. At this point, you were lost in your thoughts. You saw many people rushing by frantically, trying to find a warm place, but you had nowhere. You were alone now, or so you thought. Suddenly, an umbrella was placed above your head to prevent you from getting soaked even more by the wet weather. Yo, you forced back a smile, realizing who the owner of that voice was. Draken. It was like magic. Every time Draken appeared, your whole world felt better. "Why are you sitting in the rain for, He questioned, sitting down next to you, scooting a little closer so you could both share the umbrella. "I did it," you said, smiling at him widely. You sniffed a bit from the previous tears. You ran away?" The tall blonde shouted a bit, surprised you actually did it. You nodded, feeling relieved. "You really are crazy, boy," he said, chuckling softly whilst his thumb wiped away the old tears from your face. Draken was the only one you told about your family and your personal matters. You trusted him greatly. A comfortable silence was placed between you two. You started to feel cold, and even a small breeze would make you shiver. "Cold?" he stated to you before you shyly nodded. Chuckling, he brought you closer to him and placed his arm around your shoulder. You forcefully held back the blush that threatened to grow onto your cheeks. "Do you think what I did was right?" you asked the blonde boy, turning your head to him. He nodded, giving you a smile. You did, Hwan. If you ever need someone, I'm here. You know that I'll support any decision you make. No, I'll never leave your side. Draken replied, giving you a wide grin and ruffling your hair. Thanks, Ken, you said, feeling comfort from his touch. You remember the first time you called him Ken instead of Draken. You thought that was your last day on Earth, but he just stared at you and gave you a sweet smile. Your head slowly started to fall onto his shoulder as your tension drained out of your body. Your arms hugged his torso, smiling yourself. You always felt so calm and relaxed with him. He washed away all your worries in a heartbeat. Thank you for giving me comfort, Ken. Smiling, you closed your eyes, contentedly feeling his lips kiss the top of your head. This was another request. So somebody requested for a Draken. So here it is. Hi. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm gonna go edit this, and I will see you guys when I see you guys. Have an amazing evening, have an amazing morning, have an amazing afternoon, whenever you are. And like I said, I will see you guys when I see you guys. Goodbye, everyone.